There were four of us. George and William Samuel Harris and myself and Montmorency. We were sitting in my room, smoking and talking about how bad we were. Bad from a medical point of view, I mean, of course.
With me, it's giddiness.
It's giddiness with me, too.
Sometimes I have such extraordinary fits of giddiness, I hardly know what I'm doing.
Well, I hardly know what I'm doing, too. I have such extraordinary fits of giddiness.
With me, it's my liver that's out of order.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, I've been reading this patent liver pill circular, which sets out the various symptoms by which a man can tell when his liver is out of order. I have them all, including what it calls a general disinclination to work of any kind.
I've got that, too.
I've been a martyr to it since earliest boyhood.
I was born with it.
They didn't know it was my liver. Of course, medical science was in a far less advanced state than now. They used to give me a clump on the side of the head. Didn't do any good. Oh, body, you know. Yes.
We sat there describing to each other our maladies. I explained to George and Harris how I felt when I got up in the morning. And Harris told us how he felt when he went to bed. And George stood on the hearthrug and gave us a clever and powerful piece of acting, illustrative of how he felt in the night. George fancies he is ill, but there's never anything really the matter with him.
Mrs. Poppins. Supper? I suppose one should try.
A cousin of mine, who is usually described on the charge sheet as a medical student, once told me that something in the stomach often keeps disease in check.
Steak and onions and rhubarb pie.
What we need is a rest.
Rest and a complete change.
Leave the 19th century behind. Seek out some quaint, forgotten nook, far from the madding crowd, half as old as time.
What we need is a sea trip.
No. I remember once...
Not now, old chap.
Why don't we go up the river? Fresh air, the changing scene will occupy our minds, including what there is of Harris's, and the exercise will make us sleep well.
I agree. I think it a very sensible idea. It just goes to show that you should never write off a man just because he's never had a sensible idea before. I propose.
Second.
Aye.
Any against? Carried by 3-1. The Thames, couched in that green and golden valley, winding and whispering, singing of strange old tales and secrets as it flows under the fair canopy of England's sky through England's history. Our little boat, borne along on sun-dappled waters, through shady woods and blazing fields.
How about when it rains?
That's Harris all over. When George is hanged, Harris will be the least romantic man in the world. We had arranged that George, who goes to sleep at a bank from 10 till 4 every day except Saturday, when they wake him up and put him outside at 2, would join us when we got up the river to Shepperton. Meanwhile, Harris and I, and the Gladstone, and the small handbag, and the 2 hampers, and the big roll of rugs, and some overcoats and mackintoshes, and a melon by itself in a bag, and a Japanese umbrella, and a frying pan which wouldn't go in anywhere, and Montmorency, arrived on our way to the Kingston train. The 11:05 for Kingston.
11:05 for Kingston, number 2, sir.
Number 2? That's the Windsor Loop.
You want number 1, sir?
Number 1 is the Reigate stopping, so I hear.
The 11:05 for Kingston.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, I was just talking to a man who said he'd seen it on number 3. He was almost positive about that. Otherwise, there's a body of opinion which leans toward the eye-level platform for the Kingston train. Though, in my opinion, sir, that is the Southampton Express.
Here you go, no, sir. You follow me.
Thank you.
Monty, come along. I'm sorry to trouble you, but are you the 11th?
the 11:05 for Kingston.
Couldn't rightly say. I might be, and then again I might not be. If I'm not, I'm the 932 for Virginia Water, or the Guildford Local.
Could you please be the 11:05 for Kingston?
Well, some trains got to go to Kingston, innit? Thank you very kindly, sir. The 11:05 for Kingston it is.
Thank you very much.
This is the Exeter Mail, apparently.
Well, it might be. Then again, it might not.
And so the railway system, which has made England the envy of the world, brought us to Kingston. And at 12 o'clock, with our luggage stowed and Montmorency unhappy and deeply suspicious in the prow, out we rode onto the waters which were to be our home. We hoped up as far as Oxford, though the possibilities for digression along the Thames are infinite. We had barely started when Harris was minded to inquire whether I had ever been to Hampton Court Maze.
Ever been to Hampton Court Maze, Jay?
No.
Harris said he went in once to show a country cousin the way. He had studied it up on a map.
We'll just go in so you can say you've been, but it's very simple. Absurd to call it a maze, really. We'll walk around for 10 minutes and then go and get some lunch, all right?
They met some people soon after they got inside who'd been in there for 3/4 of an hour.
Morning. Want to get it over with? You can follow me if you like. I'm going in and coming out again.
That's very kind of you, sir.
Everybody's welcome. Just keep turning to the left.
Thank God you've come, sir.
We're just about living up hope, sir.
This way.
And bit by bit, they picked up all the people who were in the maze, including a woman with a baby who had been in there all morning and insisted on taking Harris's arm for fear of losing him.
Turn left, round here. Round here. This way.
Harris kept turning to the left.
This way.
I suppose it's a very big maze.
Yes, one of the largest in Europe.
Yes, it must be, because we've walked a good 2 miles already.
This way. This way.
Harris began to think it rather strange himself, but he held on until...
Here! We passed that biscuit 10 minutes ago.
Impossible.
Yes, we did. It's Albert's. I saw him drop it down.
Well, according to the map...
I wish I'd never met you.
All right! We'll go back to the entrance and start again from there. Keep turning... right.
And so, after turning right a good deal, he found himself...
And here we are.
In the middle.
In the... middle. Oh, just as I...
Harris thought at first of pretending that that was what he had been aiming at, but the crowd looked dangerous, and he decided to treat it as an accident and set off once more towards the perimeter.
All right, keep going. Keep to the right. Come on there, keep to the right. Keep going right. And finally, right again. And here we are.
Albert and I will stay here. You go on.
Madam, I advise you to follow me.
We're all right. You can pick us up on your next time through.
You silly old baggage.
Here. Who do you think you're talking to?
All right. Anyone who wants to stay here for the rest of the day is welcome. I'm going home now.
The optimists of the party kept dwindling faith with Harris. The pessimists remained in the middle and were swiftly vindicated. Harris got his map out again, but the sight of it seemed to infuriate the mob. They told him to...
Go and curl your hair with it.
And to...
Go and stuff it.
Away somewhere.
You monster! You
Evidently, it happens all the time.
It really is an awfully good maze.
Hmm.
We must try and get George into it on the way back.
Good idea.
Incidentally, I'm quite willing to let you scull for a bit if you want to. Don't want to be selfish about it. Put in here a while, Joe.
Here? Why?
It's Hampton Church. I want to see Mrs. Thomas's tomb.
Who's Mrs. Thomas?
How should I know? She's just a lady who has a funny tomb.
I know it's supposed to be the proper thing to do, every time you see a church, to rush off and enjoy the graves. I don't hold with it as a form of recreation. Anyway, we haven't got time.
I have looked forward to seeing Mrs. Thomas's tomb since the moment this trip was proposed. In fact, I wouldn't have come but for the thought of seeing Mrs. Thomas's tomb.
This is just morbid extravagance. I'm sorry.
What about the Scold's Bridal at Walton Church? I must see the Scold's Bridal.
We have to get the boat up to Shepperton by tea time to meet George.
Oh, hang George! Why couldn't he get the day off? What use is a bank anyway? They take all your money when you want to write a cheque, it's refer to drawer. Damn nerve. I'm going to withdraw my account. I'm going to get out and have a drink.
There's some lemonade in the hamper.
I said a drink, not your Sunday school slops. Lemonade, raspberry syrup. They're poison. Dandelion and
Pull on your line.
ginger beer. If you ask me, they ruin body and soul, responsible for half the crime in England.
Pull on your line!
I'm pulling!
The other one.
I say, this is the life, isn't it?
Rather
Sorry if I was a bit touchy back there.
touchy? When?
Wasn't I a bit touchy about George and Mrs. Thomas?
Were you? I didn't notice. Hey, kind of you to concern yourselves, eh?
Not at all. Good egg. Who's this?
Do you know you gents are trespassing?
What does he say?
He wants to know if we know we're trespassing.
I'm not sure I've given the matter sufficient consideration.
We haven't given the matter sufficient consideration. But, if you give us your assurance that we are indeed trespassing, we would without hesitation believe it.
Well, I tell you are trespassing.
He says we are.
Ah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm supposed to throw you off.
What does he say?
He says it's his duty to throw us off.
Oh, well, if it's his duty, he ought to do it. Does he say how he intends to go about it?
No, he's taciturn on the subject.
I shall tell the master, then come back and throw you both in the river.
He only wanted a shilling.
He must make quite an income, blackmailing weak-minded noodles.
Walton is quite a large place for a riverside town, but only the tiniest corner comes down to the water. Caesar, of course, had a little place at Walton, an entrenchment or a camp or something of that sort. He was a great upriver man, was Caesar. And Queen Elizabeth was there too, and Cromwell. They made a very odd trio. People used to comment when they went on picnics. The first thing we saw at Shepperton was George's blazer on one of the locked gates.
Hello, Harry! Hey! Jay!
And closer inspection showed that George was inside it.
What's that? A frying pan? No! They're all the rage up the river this season. Everyone's got one. It's a banjo. I never knew you played the banjo. Well, not exactly, no. But it's very easy, they tell me, and I've got the instruction book. Good.
Suits you. Goes awfully well with your outfit.
Do you like the blazer?
As an object to hang above a fruit bed to frighten away the birds, I should respect it. As an article of dress for any other human being apart from a Margate minstrel makes me ill.
I've always found envy distasteful. I noticed you and Jay were envious the moment you saw it.
I can easily dispose of that idea. Your blazer wouldn't suit me at all. I always like a darker red in my things, red and black. You see, my hair's a sort of rather golden brown colour, or the pretty shade I've been told, and I find that dark red really picks it up beautifully.
I always stick to yellows and browns. My eyes have an unusual kind of hazel glint. Rather mysterious, has been remarked. I find yellows and browns pick it up.
Yes, you don't think your complexion too ruddy for yellow? No, yellow doesn't suit you at all. There can be no doubt about that. You really ought to take some blue and white with a little cream touched in. You really wouldn't look half bad in blues and creams if you kept your hat on. Now, George, on the other hand... Why is George looking like a martyred goose? It must be some girl. Everybody in the lock seemed to have been suddenly struck wooden. All the girls were smiling sweetly, and all the fellows were frowning and looking stern and noble. And then at last the truth flashed across me. I leant with careless grace upon the hitcher, in an attitude suggestive of agility and strength, and threw an air of tender wistfulness into my expression, mingled with a touch of cynicism, which I'm told suits me.
Hey! Look at your nose! Look at your nose!
George, I think there's something wrong with your nose.
You three with the dog! Watch your nose!
Oh, it's our nose!
It's our nose!
It was Jay's fault.
That's Harris all over, too. He always reminds me of...
Not now, Jay.
We found a very pleasant nook under a tree, a little below Magna Carta Island, and with hardly any difficulty, prepared the boat for the night. Slowly, the golden memory of the dead sun faded. The birds ceased their song, and only the plaintive cry and harsh croak of the moorhen and the corncrake stirred the awed hush around the couch of waters where dying day breathed out her last. Night upon her somber throne folds her black wings above the darkening world, and from her phantom palace holds sway and stillness.
To